We are going to be talking about, as Becky mentioned, the north, the Douro Valley, which is in the north, obviously, and the city of Porto. This is the last part of continental Portugal we'll be talking about, and next week we'll finish off with the islands. And you might be wondering what I'm wearing, and I'll explain that as we get a little bit further on to this presentation. So let's start rolling here with our slides. So here on the top part, you can see the north and the Douro Valley and the city of Porto. The north of Portugal is where it all started. It's where our birthplace is, the city of Guimarães. And why? Because our first king, Afonso Henriques, was born there. So that's where Portugal began, in this northern region here. And the north of Portugal is really well known for the number of sanctuaries. It's got more sanctuaries than the rest of the country. And it's super famous for the vinho verde, the real traditional green wine that's from this region here above Porto, besides obviously the port wine and the well-known Douro wines. Also in the north, you have the UNESCO World Heritage Site of the Douro Valley. And it was the first demarcated wine region since 1756 in all of the world. This is a really amazing landscape. And for such a small country, you have great diversity in Portugal. And this northern region is really well known for the granite houses. The food is amazing as well from the north and very different from the rest of the country. We have quite a few national parks here as well, with springs, with small waterfalls, rivers. All of these can be enjoyed in a variety of different ways, either through cooking classes, adrenaline-filled activities, which will show you, enjoying these little beach sort of locations near these waters. It's really all very beautiful. And we feel that to really get to know this area, you would need about 3 or 4 days in this region in total to be able to discover a lot of its parts. And here you have some idea of different foods and the aspect of this region, and we'll go into the experiences. So we normally divide the experiences between families and couples. You have here a list that we will go into with pictures of activities that can be enjoyed by couples and by families throughout this northern region. And most of these can be interchanged, and it's just a matter of adapting them to the age group and to the interests. For you to understand what the Douro Valley, where it is and what it's all about, here along the Douro River, which starts in Spain and finishes off in the city of Porto, you have the box that identifies the Douro Valley region. So it's only halfway on the river. And this region is identified because of these man-made terraces of wine production. So on these slopes, in order to be able to produce wine, the vineyards were placed in sort of a step. And they go up these slopes in that step formation. Picking these grapes in harvest season is quite a challenge. And actually the workers, they sometimes are stuck together with ropes as if they were climbing, like escalating these hills, because they would fall if they weren't held up by these ropes or these cables to hold them. And all of this has to be picked by hand, all of the grapes. So it's quite a lot of work. And this starts halfway in the town called Piso de Régua. So when we go into the hotels, you'll understand a bit better the location. The UNESCO heritage is this red part here along the river. So that's the only part that's actually classified as UNESCO. And this is the town that I had mentioned. So this goes all the way to Spain. And here you can see an absolute beautiful landscape. This is absolutely gorgeous. And the best way to really take advantage of this landscape is enjoying a boat ride on the Douro River. Wine tasting is a must. There are numerous wine estates to enjoy the different varieties of wine the different Douro wines, as well as the port. But here, the focus really is on the Douro wines. The Douro wines have been produced for over 2,000 years. So it's quite a long time, and numerous indigenous grape varieties in the region. So we can do beautiful picnics in setups like these, or in the vineyards, whatever clients prefer. There are many estates with different landscapes and different locations to enjoy these beautiful views. And the boat tours. The boat tours, the option could be that sailing boat, which is the first one that you saw in that first picture, or a more vintage style boat, which is this one, along the river. And these can be enjoyed in different areas of the river. The part that we love the most is the part that goes closer to Spain, where the river narrows and you don't really see roads or cars, and you just see this beautiful landscape and a few wine estates as well. It's really beautiful to do these cruises and then stop at an estate, maybe enjoy lunch, enjoy some wine tasting. The steam train is also a really, really lovely way to enjoy observing this landscape and to try something different, try a different means of transportation. The train only works during certain seasons of the year. In the very hot summer, it doesn't, to avoid forest fires, but then off-peak, it will work, and in the winter months, it normally doesn't function. So here you can see, this is a gorgeous view from one of the hotels in this region, which is just amazing to just come out in the morning or in the evening and enjoy this view. This here, you have some notes on the pictures of what it is. This is a typical pork sandwich called prego no pão, and some beer with lingonberry. And this is one of the beautiful wine estates that we use for visiting, for wine tasting, and for enjoying a great lunch with wine pairing. This is one of the oldest estates in the Douro region, Quinta Nova. They were the first to start with the rural tourism and as a hotel as well. They have a helipad landing section, also an amazing outdoor pool with a gorgeous view. And they have these experiences of wine tasting, a really nice little museum, and you can visit the entire process as well. And here you can see other options of activities besides the wine tasting, the amazing food, painting classes, for example, cooking experiences with chefs, the biking. And biking is a really beautiful activity here, and it can work for any adaptability, because we can get electric bikes for clients who aren't so used to riding, and our guides can adapt to their knowledge and to their capacity, no problem. And the interior of the churches in the north are absolutely fabulous. One other fun activity in the north is this adventure park. This is not too far from the Douro Valley region. And here you have the longest zip line. I think it's the third longest zip line in Europe at this point, which is about 1.5 kilometers. And it's absolutely amazing to just do this zip line all the way across and enjoy this mountain view. And the park has a number of other activities which are great for smaller kids, older kids, and you can just have a blast as a family. This is also possible from the city of Porto. It's not really that far. It's about an hour, 20 minutes, an hour and a half to reach this area. And so it can make a really nice day trip. Another really interesting activity, the traditional carnivals in the north. These are really unique, and they only happen in the very northern regions of Portugal. So here you have the Carretes do Pudense. This is the Carnival of Pudense, a town in the north where they carry out sort of pagan traditions. This started many, many years ago, and it's believed to have to do with the ancient festivities of the Romans, of the Luperci, which took place in the 15th of February. So during this time, they would praise Pan, the god of the flocks, fertility, shepherds, or they would honor Luperco, the pastoral god, for protection of their flocks from wolves. So these caretos, which is what they're called. They're men, normally single men, dressed up with these outfits made of wool. They carry these bells. These are the bells that usually are found around the sheep's necks. They carry these bells around their waist, and they run around the town making loads of noise. And the whole point is to grab the young single women, shake them around. This was done for fertility, to bring fertility to the town, to bring fertility to the lands. Also, what they called the burning of, they make a fake doll, the burning of the witch to cleanse the lands, to bring goodness and prosperity to the agriculture. And this continues to happen every single year during the 3 days of Carnival, which are prior to Ash Wednesday. Another very famous carnival is the Lazarim, which are these masks that people make. These are all handmade locally, and then people wear them, they parade around the streets, and they kind of do this to make mischievous acts, let's say. So they fool around, they joke around with everyone, and no one knows who's underneath the mask. Nowadays, they have huge contests for the best mask, and this continues to go on. Also in the north, you have the National Park of Gerês, which is absolutely beautiful. Many waterfalls are found here, beautiful little ponds of clear, transparent water, rather cold, but an amazing place to visit. Jeep tours are done here, which are really fun. Biking and hiking, many trails as well. Another interesting fact in this area are the Guerreno horses. These are indigenous horses of this region. They're really small, and there are some places who have these horses for horse riding as well. Other beautiful towns, Lindoso, this one to the left, which has an amazing castle, and Suajo, the one to the right. So these are called canastros or espigueiros in Portuguese, and they are used to store the corn during the winter months. The corn is stored here to feed the animals. And this is found in many towns of the north. Some people have a espigueiro near their granite house, the older houses. And these are locations where you find a number of community espigueiros, which now can still be used by the community to store this corn. Here's an example of numerous sanctuaries in the north, the towns of Braga and a smaller area called Penida. This Penida town is not far from the previous pictures that were shown of Suajo and Lindoso. These churches here, Sameiro and Bom Jesus, are found in the city of Braga, which is a really beautiful city for clients to visit and can be a day trip from the city of Porto. These sanctuaries are absolutely gorgeous inside as well. Here you have examples of beautiful palaces where wine tasting can be enjoyed, and the absolutely gorgeous gardens as well can be visited. These are historical gardens as well. The one in Quinta da Aveleda is absolutely beautiful. And Quinta da Aveleda produces one of the most famous vinho verdes, the green wines. Many bottles are sold all over the world of one of the brands called Casal Garcia, which might be known by some of you. And the surrounding towns by the Quinta da Brejoeira are also beautiful to visit. The town of Monção, right nearby for bike riding as well. Another beautiful area, smaller towns called Arcos de Valdevez. They have these really long, amazing walkways to enjoy. They can do about 30 kilometers of these walkways throughout this forest, accompanying these rivers. And another very popular thing that's been popping up in Portugal are these huge swings. We have quite a number of them on amazing landscapes. So these are really beautiful and very Instagrammable now. Fun activities for kids, making cornbread, going to a windmill that actually still grinds the corn and makes the flour. This is all an experience to enjoy. The farm to table experiences as well. Windsurfing in an area called Foscoa, which is closer to Spain. It's not too far from the Douro River. You can find these engravings in stones from Neolithic periods. Also, there's a chocolate factory in the town of Viana do Castelo, and you can enjoy some experiences with chocolate, like an escape room, visiting the chocolate museum. It used to be a really important chocolate factory as well in the country, and obviously tasting some chocolates. The Castle of Guimarães, which is the birthplace of Portugal, as I had mentioned. This castle is absolutely beautiful and really gorgeous to visit as well. Inside, it's just empty, but the whole architecture is amazing. And the center of the city of Guimarães is also very beautiful. It's very medieval, really lovely to walk around in, maybe enjoy a food tour. Some examples of delicious things that can be enjoyed here at some local restaurants. All traditional Portuguese petiscos. Another beautiful experience in the town of Viana do Castelo, and this one's really special because this is where my family's from, and now you'll understand what I'm wearing. So I'm actually wearing part of the folklore outfit from Viana do Castelo, and the earrings, the gold. So this is one of the most famous festivities in Portugal. This takes place in August, around the 19th, 20th, that's the main day. So these ladies, they wear their family gold. They usually wear all of their heirlooms. Nossa Senhora da Agonia, sorry, that's the name of the festivities. And it takes place, as I had mentioned, around the week of the 19th where it falls. And this is an absolutely major festivity, one of the biggest in the entire country. They wear these beautiful outfits, and these are my children when they were really little, wearing their outfits. And they can participate in the parades. If you have clients that really like this sort of thing, they can rent an outfit and just to walk around, or have the kids rent an outfit, which is super fun. The one on the picture on the left is the couple's marriage outfit. Some people actually still use this as a tradition to marry in. It's not so common, but many years ago, this was totally common. Very strange to see a bride all in black and just the white laced veil, but this was a very traditional wedding outfit. And my outfit's really special to me because this was made by my mom, all handmade, and the back of these, and I'll just turn around so you can see, are fully embroidered by hand, which is quite a lot of work. And this is a very big tradition in Portugal in the north. And this filigree, these beautiful gold pieces, there's a factory close to Porto that can actually be visited to see how these pieces are made. Here you have an example of what we call the lovers' handkerchiefs. These were made by young ladies that wanted to declare their love to a special someone, and they would write a poem, and they usually have a lot of misspelled words. It wasn't a very proper grammar because these girls didn't go to school. So they would just write a poem declaring their love. And it's actually now really beautiful and romantic to get one of these made. It could be a special surprise, for example, on a special trip. And there's a company in the north that actually started doing this on shoes and has become really popular, selling shoes that have these embroideries on them, special messages, and some are made for weddings, and they have the couple's names, the date of the wedding incorporated into the poem. It's really nice. Here you have the bola de Berlim. This is a very popular dessert in Portugal. It's one of the Portuguese simple pleasures in the summer months. During beach time, you always find someone running along the beach and saying bola de Berlim, bola de Berlim. They're selling these, and people will eat these while they're on the beach. One of the most famous places in Portugal to sell these is in Viana do Castelo. They usually have a very long line. They have them every morning at a certain hour and every afternoon at a certain hour. These were actually brought to Portugal by Jewish people from Germany when they fled to Portugal. Many were bakers, and they brought this traditional recipe, and it's become the most popular thing here. And anyone who goes to Viana do Castelo has to try these. And you can see in this picture, this is the setup already for the festivities in the summer months. They're not occurring at this time. Last year they didn't, and this year they're not. However, the city still decorates completely everything. They just do not do the parades at this time. And here you have the sacred temple of Santa Luzia in Viana do Castelo, which is absolutely gorgeous. I actually got married here, and it's beautiful. The view is amazing. There's a posada right behind the temple, which is also a lovely place to stay in. And this will be the north. And now we're going to go into some hotels in the northern and the Douro Valley region. So we have our division in luxury, premium, and boutique. And for the luxury, those are our more 5-star hotels. The premium will be the 4, and the boutique can be 4 or 5. They're just smaller and cozier and with a different type of decor. And here you have the map where you can see the different locations of the hotels. We'll be focusing more on the Douro Valley, and one of these hotels is very far up into the northern region, which is number 1, Carlos Boutique Hotel in this area here, which is a really lovely, lovely hotel. We'll be talking about Casa do Rio, the furthest one here to the side. We're also going to talk about the Six Senses, which is right in the heart of the Douro Valley. So here in the close-up, you can see it's number 12, the Quinta do Bosque, which is number 10. We're also going to add one that's not yet on this map. And we have the Douro 41, which is number 4, right down here, closest to Porto. Okay, so let's go into these hotels, starting with the Douro 41, the one closest to Porto. This hotel is really, really beautiful. It's built on the landscape of, this isn't the demarcated region, so you don't actually see the vineyards here, but you got a beautiful forest along the river. And the inclination was used for the building of the hotel, so you don't really see a huge building because everything is going down on the terraces on this landscape. And the beauty of the landscape is all in front, many of the rooms with a gorgeous view. Something really, really nice is clients can land in Porto and they can transfer by boat, by yacht, to Douro 41. And this can be considered a full day trip because it takes them about 4 hours to get here, and then the boat has to return. So it would be a full day of boat, even though they're just on it for half day, and they can transfer to the hotel by boat instead of by car. By car, it's about 45 minutes, which is really quick, but by boat, it's a totally different experience, of course. Another option can be to go by boat, spend the night at the hotel, and return by boat the next day, which is really beautiful. And this hotel is a small hotel, only 61 rooms. They have a great indoor pool area and spa area as well, 2 lovely restaurants and outdoor pools. So it's a great place for clients to stay if they want to take advantage of some of the areas here in the north and not stay in the city of Porto. For example, they can go and stay right away in this Douro 41. The Quinta do Bosque is closer to the heart of the Douro region. It's a really, really small family-owned property, very adorable. You've got the beautiful landscape of the vineyards, and it's only 5 rooms. So this can actually work as a buyout for an entire family, which is great. And going to the Six Senses. The Six Senses has its name on the map. Everyone knows it's fabulous. The service is amazing. They took over this absolutely gorgeous estate and building, and they made it into the most beautiful hotel. The location is superb. The views are really lovely. You can get to the hotel by helicopter, by almost to the hotel directly by boat. The dock is a little further off, but it's a very quick ride by car. And the Six Senses is a small property with only 60 rooms, great, great outdoor landscape areas, also historical gardens. It's absolutely the perfect choice, keeping in mind that this hotel, especially in the high seasons for the Douro Valley, it's August, September, October, it gets really filled up. So it's important to make reservations for this hotel in advance. And then we've got the Quinta do Ventuzelo, which is a fairly new property, about 3 or 4 years old. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a very large estate with separate houses spread out along the landscape. It's right in the heart of the valley, so the views are superb. And they have 29 rooms and suites spread out in these houses. These houses can also work as separate buyouts. There's a beautiful outdoor pool, which you can see, the view is breathtaking. They have wine tasting and jeep tours on property. They've got obviously parking and a great restaurant as well. So clients can really enjoy everything here, or they can stay here and enjoy the boat tours and visiting other estates to understand their wine production, or more than one. All of the wines are different in this region, so most estates have their different production, which is all unique to the others. And we have Casa do Rio, the one that I mentioned is closest to Spain. This is really, really a gorgeous place. It's where the river really narrows up. You've got just the beautiful views of the terraces, the vineyards, and you've got a property that's really small, only 8 rooms and suites, another place that can work as a great buyout. And this is definitely a property where you want clients to stay a bit longer, not just one night, maybe 2 nights, because it's further off and it can be a very long ride for just one night. It's also possible to do the day trip to the Douro Valley from Porto. It's a bit more tiring. It's a very long day, but it can work. We've just recently had clients do the day trip. So they went into the Douro Valley with a transfer, so they don't have to worry about driving, which is much more comfortable. It's about an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes or so to get right into the heart of the Douro Valley from Porto, and then enjoy a bike ride, enjoy a boat tour with lunch on the boat, stop at an estate, do some wine tasting, and then return to Porto. So they left around 7 in the morning and they returned to Porto around 6 in the afternoon, 6:30 or so. So it's a very long day, but it's a very beautiful day. And then going to the very tip north that I had mentioned, which is this Carmos Boutique Hotel. It's absolutely beautiful, an amazing property, very boutique, very small. You can see from the pictures here how lovely it is. They can organize picnics in these vineyards. The vineyards in the very north of Portugal are different from the Douro Valley landscape, and they're very different from the Alentejo, which we have already spoken about. So the Alentejo are very flat plains. The Douro Valley are the steppes, and here in the more north, you've got the vineyards going up onto these wires. It's very typical to have them function as kind of a shade above these granite sticks that pillars that are made here. So it's really unique and traditional. This hotel only has 18 rooms and suites. They've also got their indoor pool and spa area, outdoor pool. So this works really well for those who want to explore more of the north of Portugal. And going into the city of Porto, which is one of the most beautiful cities in Portugal. Some people say it's their favorite. Porto has really grown a lot in the past few years, and it's become an amazing city with a lot to offer. And in Porto, well, we have our port wine, of course. And why is the port wine so important? What is the port wine? So the port wine is a fortified wine. So basically, what does that mean? That means that at some point in the production of the wine, before it finishes fermenting, the producers have to add a grape spirit or a brandy to the port. And then the process continues. This adds sweetness to it, and it becomes a very fine fortified wine. The vintage ports have become iconic, and they compare to the best Burgundies and Bordeaux's in the world. These wines are very typical to enjoy as a dessert wine with some cheeses. It's after dinner. It's not the best idea to drink with dinner unless you're definitely sitting at home, because it can be very strong. There's a few, there's a chip dry white that is really lovely with dinner, or it can be enjoyed as an aperitif as well. And the port wine is produced in the mountainous region of the Douro Valley, but it comes down the rivers in barrels to the city of Porto, where here it was shipped off to the world, and that's why it got its name, the port. So the first shipments were in 1678 or so, and the port would be stored on the opposite side of the river in the city called Vila Nova de Gaia, which is opposite from this picture here. And they're stored in the wine cellars and the houses all on the other side. Very famous lodges such as Tailors and Crofts and Graham's, Ferreira, all of these would store the barrels of port. These were brought down on boats like this one here in the picture called the Rebelo boat. And then they're stored on the opposite side, as I had mentioned, in those cellars. And once they're ready, they're sold from here. So this is the most beautiful area and most famous area to visit in Porto, the Ribeira. And here we also have a list of the activities and experiences that can be enjoyed by either couples or families in the city of Porto, which are numerous. And going into some details, one of the things we most love in Porto are the foodie tours. So foodie walking tours, they can work really well all over Portugal, but in Porto, you've got lots of options, which are absolutely delicious. So the famous hot dog of one of the cafes in Porto called Gazela, they've got a really delicious, slightly spicy hot dog. It can work as a snack because it's not really big. Then you've got the francesinha, one of the most famous sandwiches in all of Portugal. And it's really traditional from Porto, even though you can find it in the rest of the country because everyone loves it. This is made with ham, with linguiça, which is a spicy sausage, with a steak, with cheese. Sometimes it's got an egg on top. They've got a really nice spicy sauce covering it, usually served with French fries. And then the port wine tasting naturally in the different cellars of Vila Nova de Gaia, opposite side of Porto. One really beautiful experience to enjoy is opening a vintage bottle of port, and these are opened with fire tongs. The tongs of iron have to be heated in fire, and they cut around the glass of the bottle of the port, and then it has to be, they have to drop some ice cold water onto the cut, and it breaks off the glass right underneath the cork stopper. So this is how you have to open vintage bottles so that you don't spoil the wine by opening them with the corkscrew opener, because since it's so old, the cork can break apart and ruin the wine. So once the glass is broken, the wine is drained in a proper cloth to ensure there's nothing there besides the port, and then just enjoy the bottle. So this is something that is great for a small group to enjoy the entire bottle, or a couple. As long as they're not driving anywhere, they can have a great time and enjoy their entire bottle of vintage port. Enjoying the city from the river, from the sky, maybe in a vintage car, is really fun. And one of the bridges in Porto can be climbed, which is the Ponte da Rábida, which is also a very, very nice experience. Some vintage shops, the markets. Mercado do Bolhão is one of the most famous markets in all of Portugal, which is a beautiful visit. Porto Legends is a really lovely light show that speaks about the history and stories of Porto. This is also part of the foodie tours, these pork sandwiches with cheese from Serra da Estrela, which is a region I spoke about last week when we talked about the center of Portugal, and a sparkling rosé. And of course, we've got our pastel de nata all over the country. So that's a must. And then you've got famous pastries and lots of Michelin star restaurants. The Majestic Cafe is super famous. It's an absolutely beautiful cafe. Just going there to see this gorgeous interior is amazing. And as I had mentioned, the Ribeira, which is a beautiful place to walk around in. And you've got the Lelu bookstore. The Lelu bookstore is super famous, and it got on the map because of J.K. Rowling and the Harry Potter series. So it's really beautiful to visit as well. And when clients visit this bookstore, they naturally have to pay an entrance fee, but this entrance fee can revert to buying a book. So they don't just pay an entrance fee. If they want to buy a book, they can use that money for the book. And obviously the boat tours, as I had mentioned, along the river in the city of Porto, going by the already 7 bridges that are built in the city, and just enjoying a sunset, maybe a dinner on the boat. Something new now in Porto, well, actually the WOW, World of Wine, it's a really huge complex near the Yetman Hotel. It's about now already 1 year from its opening. And they just recently opened up the Pink Palace, which is super, super fun. It's an amazing interactive experience. You can see from these pictures, we had a great time visiting. And another great thing is you can taste 5 different wines. So it's all around the pink, and you've got the rosés, really beautiful wines, and you can just enjoy and have a great time in this museum. The WOW complex has a number of other museums like the Cork Museum, the Wine Museum, the Chocolate Museum. So quite a few museums to visit and understand the whole process behind these different arts. The Cork is a wonderful place to visit and understand the whole cork production, since Portugal is so famous for its cork. Also, close to Porto, you've got these natural pools, which are in a town called Lessa. These have become really popular recently also on Instagram. You've got the Porto Stadium, which is a nice place to visit as well, and a number of beautiful gardens. Some belong to museums and other are just public gardens. And we can also organize workshops to make soap. There's a beautiful zoo not far from Porto that has a glass tunnel, which is super cool to walk underneath, because the lions walk around this tunnel and can walk over it. So it's really cool for kids and even for adults. And many other, as I had mentioned before, farm to table experiences to enjoy closer to the city of Porto. And now for the hotels in Porto. We've got our 5 stars, we've got our premium, and we've got our boutiques. So we're going to talk about 3 of the 5 stars that we love in the city and close by. Some are not actually in the very, very center, but they are great options as well. So let's look at the map here. We're going to mention number 17, which is far off here. It's called Vila Foz, an absolutely beautiful, beautiful hotel. We've got the Yetman, which is number 14 on the side of Vila Nova de Gaia, as I had mentioned, where the port wine is stored, also where the WOW Museum is. And we've got the Maison Albar, which is number 5, and you have to see it on the close-up. This is in the heart of the city, number 5. And then these are the 5 stars, which are the more expensive hotels. And then we have as well other options, which is the Maison Particulier, number 6, also in the heart of the downtown area of Porto, number 6 right here. And we've got Porto Bridges, which is here, number 11 up here. So these hotels, the Maison Particulier and the Porto Bridges, are a little bit less expensive and great choices if clients are on a budget. Here we have the Yetman. The Yetman is fabulous. It's got a gorgeous view. These pictures were actually taken by myself. This is from the inside, the indoor pool. So it's the spa area of the Yetman, and it has the most fabulous view. It's probably the best pool view that a hotel in Portugal can actually have from an indoor pool. And although we visited the Yetman in August, it rained. So it was the 1st of August, and unfortunately it was really raining quite a bit. But even with rain, it's possible to really enjoy this hotel, because with a pool like this, with a view like this, you really can't be upset even if there's a little bit of rain. And on this picture here, you can see these rooftops. This is the WOW. So here you have the absolutely fabulous museums that I was talking to you about, and lots of great restaurants as well. And this is one of the deluxe rooms. So it's a superior deluxe room, and you can see the balcony is fabulous for clients to relax. This is a room that you can really enjoy and take pleasure in the view. 109 rooms, but you don't really feel the hotel is that large because since it's built on an inclination as well, the hotel goes down. When you come into the lobby, you then go down to the rooms. And at the Yetman, there's a Michelin star restaurant, which is fabulous. And also the Orangerie, the other restaurant, is very fabulous as well. And it's really quick to get to the center of Porto from here. You can actually walk. The Tailor's wine cellar is right across from the hotel, so it's literally a 2-minute walk. Also, a great restaurant at Tailor's, the Barão Fladgate, is a wonderful place to enjoy a meal and to enjoy gorgeous views of the city, besides the restaurants at Wow, which are great options. So there's a lot to choose from in this area here in the opposite side of Porto. And now we're going to the Vila Foz. The Vila Foz Hotel is the one that I mentioned is further off. So it's about 15 to 20-minute drive to the center of Porto. Also, an option can be to take a bike and just enjoy going along the ocean and that river area as you get closer into the city. The hotel is right in front of the ocean, so it's a gorgeous view. And if clients don't mind the cooler water, they can actually enjoy a nice swim, maybe some lovely restaurants along that area with an ocean view. And you can see the hotel is beautiful. Besides the palace building, there's a new building to the side. And something really, really cool about this hotel is they connected both buildings with an underground tunnel. So the underground tunnel, which doesn't even feel like an underground tunnel, goes to the spa, and then from the spa, an elevator into the new building. So clients never have to walk outside from any of these buildings to either go to breakfast, use the spa, anything at all. 68 rooms, great views from the ocean view rooms, from the manor house as well. 2 lovely restaurants, parking as well, very accessible, and bikes for free use. The spa is amazing, so a great choice. And then we're off to the Maison Particulier. It's right in the heart of, Maison Albar. This one's Maison Albar, right in the heart of the city of Porto, the very central location of the square. And this hotel is really gorgeous. All of the rooms have beautiful decor. They're all very different from one another in terms of decoration. 63 rooms in total. Also 2 great restaurants. One is fine dining and the other one is a Parisian style restaurant with great food. They've got a small indoor pool. They have valet parking as well, which is something really, really special in the center of Porto. It makes the stay super comfortable. So this is a great choice when clients really want to be in the center of the city. And here we're off to the Porto Bridges. So this is a more traditional style hotel. It's not so boutique, but it's a small property. The rooms are really, really nice. It's a good size. It's a great price range. They have a lovely restaurant. It's right in the heart of the city of Porto. And they've got 70 rooms, so not too big. There's public parking nearby. It's a really nice choice if clients have a lower budget because it's a perfect stay, perfect location. And this is Maison Particulier. It's a really lovely old style house that was fully renovated into a hotel. The rooms are absolutely gorgeous. The ceilings where they could keep the traditional style are amazing. They only have 10 rooms. So this property can actually even work as a buyout for a group, for a family. And it's right in the heart of the city, also with public parking nearby. They only serve breakfast, and it works as like being in a house because you have to ring the doorbell to get inside. There's always someone there. It's a really, really special place. And that sums up everything that we have to talk about for the North, the Douro, and Porto. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to discover. You can always tell us what your clients want, what they're looking for. We now actually have a family that's traveling for a month in Portugal, and they're focusing quite a lot on the North. So they spent 1 week in Porto. They're spending now 1 week in Gerês, the national park that we had mentioned. They're doing quite a bit of biking, boat rides. So there's really a lot to discover in this northern region, lots of adorable small towns to visit.